What's up, everybody? You are now locked into SpecTalk, my podcast geared toward high performers obsessed with personal excellence and gaining that 1% more edge every single day in order to win the day every single day. I am committed to bringing you the badass real talk of what optimizes your health and performance, especially for entrepreneurs, executives, athletes, people identify as weekend warriors and want more for themselves. And I'm utilizing all pillars of my high performance system. So today, let's get into it. I'm excited about this one. I got my diagram here. We're going to get to the real talk of the phases of fitness, and you are going to love this. It's going to be a reality check for some of you. It's going to be a reality check for some of you who are overachieving way too far and you're unhealthy. And we're going to talk about the two types of unhealthy. And then we're going to talk about y'all in the middle that are just chilling, that are able and capable of more, and you're not living at your potential. So let's get into it. Okay, phases of fitness. Let me set the scene for you, right? Right now, you have people who are super fat or super unhealthy. Respect to those who have eating disorders and things like that. But there are people that are unhealthy on either end of the spectrum, okay? Neither of those are good, but we live in it at times. And I want to take the bookends off right away and talk about that first. Because if you are doing these things, you can make some simple changes and you could be in that middle zone where you are spry, athletic, lean looking, strong, healthy, and no worries. Okay? Unhealthy number one. This is going to suck. I'm just going to put it out there. If you are a man over 20% body fat and a woman over 30% body fat, you're unhealthy. Don't hate me, hate the research, hate the science. I'm just the bad person that's delivering it. But I'm here to deliver it to you because I want you to be aware that it's a bold statement, but being overweight is not normal. We've normalized it in our society, and I know this is another offshoot of this, and this is an opinion, but I don't look at somebody on the cover of a magazine with body positivity as an excuse to remain sloppy and unhealthy and push that agenda on others. So if you look at the science of hypertension, diabetes, preventable disease, it's going to be when men are starting to creep up well past 20% and women over 30%. And it's very rough for me to say this sternly because I know a lot of people are going to get their panties in a bunch. Some people don't even know what their body fat percentage is. Some people don't care. So we're going to go back to 1987 when I'm sitting in my aunt's house and my cousin comes over to me and pinches my stomach and says, ha, pinch an inch. I'm like, pinch an inch? Yeah, didn't you hear on the news the other day, if you could pinch an inch of fat, you're like really like fat. I'm like, get the hell out of here. My cousins were stick figures. They played soccer and had their father's genetics. I, on the other hand, had the genetics of a city kid that ate Snickers every day because I walked to the corner store and my daddy let me have 50 cents. What do you want from me? We didn't exercise, and I ate candy bars every day. This is why I have the right to tell you this, that it sucked being a kid that couldn't do gym class. Picked last because I wasn't athletic. Go figure now. Got my revenge. But when you grow up in an environment where people are coddling you and telling you that being overweight is okay and it's fine, love yourself, bullshit, the ultimate self-love is taking care of the vessel that you belong in, and don't try to change my mind. There is one thing about not giving yourself hell while you're in your journey. This is not about fat shaming. This is about an excellence podcast. So most of you listening to me probably like me and agree with me. But if you are holding on to a little extra pudge, it's okay because we're going to help you optimize your life. And when people tell you, oh, you're fine the way you are, do you want to be fine is the question. Do you want to be fine? You know what's fine? Plain grits. But aren't grits better with cheese and all sorts of other stuff you could put in it to flavor it up? Do you want to live fine or do you want to live excellent? If you're attracted to this podcast, you don't want to live fine. You want to be in the upper 1%. And I feel like when I've met a lot of people who have done that in their business, they come around to fitness later. And it's okay. You don't have to be like me doing it backwards, right? I did the fitness thing first, and now I'm going the business route. But it's the same principles. So the women over 20%, the men over 20% body fat and the women over 30% body fat who are already successful in your career, let's put your money to some good use and help you move forward with the health goals. Because why should you accept any less than being in the upper 1% in all areas of your life? You can do it all. And when you want to do things to a high level, you know there's no such thing as balance. There's no such thing as balance. The most successful people in the world go full throttle. There is time to rest. Don't get me wrong. There's time to rest, recuperate, get your mind right, perform optimally when your brain's recharged. But there's no excuses. And I find there are people that I know that are super successful, whether it's in the finance world or wherever, but yet they're making excuses to why they ate the Burger King and had a shitty workout the next day, or why they drank too much. It's okay. I know what I need to do. You don't know what you need. You know what you need to do, but you're not doing it. And you're not doing it because in this area of your life, you're okay with being over 30% body fat and unhealthy because you're getting by because you've got money and the houses and the girls that are with you because of your money, not because of your health, because they want to see you die and take your shit. That's another real talk point there. So let's talk about what unhealthy on the fat side of the spectrum looks like, okay? There is almost no competitive athlete at this body fat level that has longevity. And for humans that are not athletes, right? Being over this percentage, 20 for men, 30 for women, will affect your daily functioning, whether it's in the bedroom or in the boardroom. I don't care. You cannot tell me that having your gut stick out outside of your suit over your pants or having to keep the lights off at night with your partner is something that makes you feel good about yourself. So the habits that you are most likely displaying are you're eating more processed foods. You're eating larger portions than you really need, and you eat quickly because you're always on the run. You don't really care about what you're eating. It's like, it makes me think of that movie, The Devil Wears Prada, where Meryl Streep is like, oh, you're too cool to think, about what you put on your back, and you don't take yourself seriously. Because she's in high fashion, right? She's in the upper 1% of high fashion, looking at her intern wearing clogs and an ugly-ass skirt who thinks it's cool, right? That's the rest of us who care about our health, looking at those who just like, I'm just going to eat whatever on the run. Sometimes you get caught in a bind, but that becomes an everyday habit for this category of people. What they do less of is they do less of exercise, period. They don't think they need it. They eat less whole foods, and they sleep less. Lack of sleep is linked to holding body fat, period. It's science. Don't shoot the messenger. But how many times, if you're a high-achieving individual, have you been told, team no sleep? Okay, so millions, but now you can't use them because you're sick all the time because you don't sleep. I get it. I get frustrated too. I wish I could function in the world and never have to sleep. I think from a productivity standpoint, not a health professional speaking, I think that sleep for me is the most annoying time waster, but it's necessary for health. My productivity mind says, no, keep going. So that's the battle I have when I can't fall asleep at night. And I know some of you are the same. But team no sleep only has a shelf life of about 3 days and then starts to go downhill. So pull your all-nighters, but shoot, you got to pay back that sleep debt, right? Now, there are benefits to being pretty fat, right? Things are easy. It's an easy fallback. You can say, oh, I'm good, I'm happy. But on the inside, what you project is different. When the inside is not the same. And it doesn't require any thought work or effort. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, whatever, just getting by. Oh, we're just going to go to McDonald's today. Okay, cool. There's no thought behind that. There's no planning. It's pure laziness, okay? The trade-off, though, is poor health, lower energy levels, clearly, poorer life expectancy, the higher, incidence of disease, metabolic syndromes, things like that, and the unfavorable end result of possibly needing medications to manage your blood pressure. Now, this is removing anything congenital, right? I have been around 15-year-olds who've had high cholesterol because it ran in their family. But when they got fit, and even though they weren't overweight by that much, they were of unfavorable body composition because they didn't have muscle mass, which is a whole nother topic I cannot wait to dive into. How muscle mass is actually health promotion for your body. Muscle saves you. They got better. They reduced their cholesterol that was congenital because they changed the composition, not just by losing fat. They didn't really have too much fat to lose. They just didn't have enough muscle. So therefore, they were over fat. Okay, so this category is the above 20% for men, above 30% for females. Now let's go to the other end of the spectrum. Okay, the other end of the spectrum is ridiculously unhealthy, where men are below 6% and women are below 16%. I'm going to be fully transparent with you, obviously, because I'm a bodybuilder. I've been here, and I'm going to tell you how rough that road was. But you see me sitting here a little bit more humanized in an off-season time, and I didn't compete in 2020, and I didn't compete in 2022. So I went 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, and then again in 23. That time off, because health is most important, that time off allows you to push your body when you do things right on the time off. I've been probably close to 6% body fat. The in-body said 3, but I don't buy it. It's got to be at least 3 to 5% error once you get down there. There's no way I'd be standing here dead if I was 3% body fat. But the only people that this should be are extreme athletes, bodybuilders, wrestlers, whatever, on competition day, and fitness models at a photo shoot. But this is not how people should walk around or expect to walk around every day of their life, okay? The benefit is totally egotistical. You have pride of an accomplishment. You did it. The trade-off is a lot of mental ramifications with this. There's a lot of food anxiety. There's a lot of anxiety in social situations. It impacts your relationships. I've done it. I've eaten pickles at a bar before with water because I wanted to be with my friends, but I had to stick to some specific targets. I've missed out on fun events with family and friends. I didn't want to go to weddings. In fact, I had to make a conscious decision to take a diet break during a wedding that I was in. And I just had to throw my hands in the air and say, well, let's just throw the chips up and see where they land, because that wasn't part of the plan, and I was kind of having anxiety over it. It's a huge time commitment. There's a lot of anxiety and time anxiety over getting this X amount of workouts in because I need to maintain 8% body fat as a woman. That's why we don't do that for normal people who want to live healthy and fit. This is an extreme. The hyper focus on the diet and exercise becomes your mojo every single day. Hyper focus. So what is neglected? Your family, your friends, hopefully not your job because you still need to bring home the bacon. And it becomes really, really, really exhausting. And then, of course, when you're putting that amount of time commitment into this, other things are sacrificed. And, I know that I'm going into the snake pit this year trying to manage everything. So you're going to see my journey this year as things unfold. But having done this for, 23 years as a professional, but 6 now as a bodybuilder, every year my focus changes to be a little bit more mental, because the strategies with food are pretty much the same when you see how your body responds. So what do these people do? If you fall into any of this category, you need to start rethinking what you're doing for sustainability. This is very short-lived and borderlines on disordered eating. Got to eat super slowly and make it last because you don't have much food. You have to really pay attention to your carbs and cycling your carbs and your calories. It's a lot more of a daily change in your diet than it is general changes for overall health. You have to have a very, very strict meal plan. Everything is weighed, predetermined. There are no excuses. There's anxiety around this. You feel the intensity of which I'm telling you. Everything is exact. You cannot get under on your protein. You cannot go over on your fats. You must get your veggies. The carbs are going to go on workouts, period. That's anxiety. The exercise can be upwards of 45 minutes to 90 minutes, 6 to 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day. I kid you not, I was up to 2.5 hours of cardio sometimes. My approach this year is to be smarter so I don't have to get my body to that state. And you gotta sleep 8 to 9 hours per night, but the ramifications of being this lean is that you can't sleep because you're constantly going. If any of you are experiencing this, you know this is not a place you could sustain. And what we do less of, so we really limit our carbs to workout days. We don't have desserts or anything processed for months on end. 3 to 6 minimum. And of course, there's absolutely no drinking. So as you see these two bookends, as you're painting the picture of this like super lean, hyper-focused athlete to this sloppy, overweight, I don't give a shit person, there are sweet spots in the middle. So I just want to give you a very brief guide now of the 3 levels of healthy. And I think that this is a great topic to touch on because the 3 levels of healthy are going to show you the phases that you go through in your fitness journey, where you could find one, and I'll be glad to share this document with you if you email me, so you could see exactly. I like to send this document actually to like potential clients and people that interview with me, because I want to say we're going to get really tight on your goals. If you tell me you have this upper 1% goal, I want to know exactly where. And this is the blueprint. And if I can guide you in this blueprint, we know if your body's responding or not, and I know what to change. So the next level of healthy is where women are going to be between 25 and 30% body fat, and men are 15 to 20% body fat. And what does that look like? That looks like a healthy person who is a little soft. There's no ab lines, nothing like that. There's no like muscles popping out greatly. But this is kind of like a college athlete body, okay? It's me right now in an off season as a bodybuilder, okay? And Olympic shot putter, if you have that in your mind, they're a little bit heftier of a person, but they're Olympic level, so they're not sloppy as the category above, okay? You're going to experience your increased energy, health, sleep. Exercise is easy and enjoyable. You're doing things with your activity levels probably 3 to 5 times a week. You're eating a variety of fruits and vegetables. You're prioritizing protein in your meals. You're eating until you're satisfied. And you're drinking less caloric beverages, sodas, and alcohols. Although if you have a big goal, you want to just wean the best possible. But as you go up into this upper 1% and every step toward it, you're going to be able to minimize systematically, because you didn't just cut it cold turkey like some people do and expect to go fast and hit the goal in 15 days. It's not going to happen, right? It's not going to last. So this does require a little bit of thought and planning, and you look good. You look fit. If you're on a dating app, you could put the little active sign on your Bumble profile, right? You're active, but you're not going to look like Superman or anything like that, but you're going to be healthy. That's with women in the 25 to 30% body fat range and men in the 15 to 20% range. When you go one more step healthier, now we're in another bracket. Women getting closer to 23% body fat, men pushing closer to 13 to 15, okay? These are, it's like like professional basketball athletes, right? They're not ripped to shreds unless they're genetically like that, but they're agile. They're smooth looking. Professional softball and baseball players, right? They got an athletic body to them. They're not over fat, but they're not ridiculously lean and veined out. This is a really great spot to be because it's really pretty easy to maintain, and your energy levels will still be good. You'll still be able to push your body. You might, at this point, be able to reduce some medications that you're on with guidance from your doctor with a plan like this. And you'll be able to survive social situations, but you might find it takes a little bit of planning. I mean, maybe you'll eat before you go to the picnic, so you'll nibble less on the junk food, things like that. You're going to want to pay attention to sleep a little bit more because you're going to be pushing yourself a little harder in the gym to get to this physique. And you might have to dabble into food prep for yourself because you cannot just trust better choices at the restaurants, because now you're trying to get into a level of a physique that's going to require a little more effort. So you're going to, Really eat slowly and figure out where you're satisfied with your meals. And of course, you're going to make sure you have protein at every meal. That's a non-negotiable from here on out. And you're going to make sure you have your veggies. And the exercise demands are going to be a little bit more. 1 to 2 sessions a day, 30 to 45 minutes, definitely breaking a sweat, pushing the pace. This is where now the treats, the desserts, the drinks, the caloric alcoholic beverage become less. You're going to minimize it 3 to 5 times a week. If you do that, you're going to see some significant changes if right now, you're living in a free-for-all. Now, the next step is when women want to get closer to 20%. This is where you might start to see some ab lines. It's a pretty good spot. Men are moving closer to 10%. This is where you're getting into more of a professional level of athlete look, a Michael Phelps kind of look. Professional volleyball players, they're slim and trim. They're performing well. You have a much more fit appearance. It's probably like a cover model with a little thin layer. Not bad. But better than the active guy or girl on Bumble. It's like, oh, you know what? I put some thought into this. I put a little bit more effort into meal prep. I'm going to eat, a lot more consistency at about 85% at home cooked meals. And I'm only going to maybe have that 1 or 2 glasses of wine or alcoholic beverage once a week with one dinner on one day out of the weekend and maybe one dessert. Okay. This is where you're going to be exercising more, closer to 60 minutes a day, 3 to 4 sessions a week, maybe even 5. So that's for men and women closer to 20 and 10%. Now, this is the last category above the unhealthy skinny people who are borderline disordered eating. The next and final category is when men are wanting to look like cover models and bodybuilders before they get on stage, probably about 6 weeks out, right? You're going to look like a boxer. Okay, you're going to look like an elite level gymnast. You're going to see the muscles, women at 16 to 19% body fat, men to 6 to 9% body fat. You're going to look like, damn, when you walk into the grocery store, hey, how do you get rid of this? Kind of questions you're going to get, right? They're going to think you're me. They're going to think you're a trainer, right? They're going to ask you advice. You're going to probably turn down a lot more than you're going to accept in terms of invites out and, having to have a very curated diet plan and exercise plan. And you still, even though you're not in the most extreme situation, you're still going to struggle socially because you're going to have that battle of I want to be social. I don't want anybody to ask me what's wrong with me, but I'm not doing this thing that I did before because it's not the results that I wanted. And you're going to give up some things because your energy resources are going to have to go toward your effort with your meal prep and your exercise and your sleep. Okay. So this means you're probably going to be working out upwards of 60 to 75 minutes a day with 4 to 5, 6 sessions a week, and definitely trying to prioritize your sleep. So some of your social functions will get cut out because you'll just be too tired to do that. And this is where the extent of where you prolong the next time you indulge in caloric beverages and desserts and things like that to every couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, right? And you're going to look at your carbs as, okay, how can I strategically place these? And then, of course, we already talked about the bookends of the super extremes, unhealthy, super fat, unhealthy, super lean, I should say, because you're not super fit if you're unhealthy. And so a lot of this is very important to see visually, so I'll be more than welcome to show you a video that I created on this where you actually can see the image if you reach out to me. And if you're like, you know what, I know where I want to be. I don't know how to get there. This is a blueprint, but of course, there's a blueprint. And then every time you see a blueprint for a building or a skyscraper, there's a lot of planning that goes on with the floors and the walls and the art and the this and the that, the finishing touches, the structure, the foundation. And this is where I can help you. So don't get overwhelmed by this video, but just learn from it, okay? I hope you wrote some notes. I hope you have some questions for me. Christina at ChristinaSpecos.com. And also see me on Instagram at Christina Specos and check out all the other clips that I have. I'm more than happy to have you field your questions, schedule a consultation, anything that's going to help you internalize and visualize this information more. And if you want to take the next step, I'm in the boat just waiting for you to jump in. Let's go and let's sail. See you next time.